Okay, in this lesson, we're going to look at subtracting fractions when we have to borrow. Okay, before we do that, though, there's something that we need to understand, and that is we can take a whole number like 1 and we can turn it into an improper fraction where the top and the bottom number are the same. So 1 equals 2 over 2, right? Because 2 divided by 2 is just 1. Or 1 could be 3 over 3. Or 1 could be 5 over 5. Or 1 could be 22 over 22, right? These numbers can be anything we want them to. In our problem, when we borrow 1, we need to turn that 1 into a fraction so that we can have a numerator to subtract. So we're going to choose the number that is best for the problem, that makes our math the easiest, because that's our goal. We like easy math. Okay, so our first example that we're going to do is 1 minus 3 over 4. Okay, there's nothing up here. 0 minus 3, I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow. I'm going to make that 0. Now, what am I going to put here? Well, I could put the 1 that I borrowed, but that's not very helpful because I still can't subtract. They don't have common denominators. So, knowing that 1 equals a fraction like this, what number shall I choose? Well, what's going to make our math easiest? Our math is easiest if we have a common denominator. So let's do that. Okay, let's take this 4. Common denominator. That means this has to have a denominator of 4. And if the bottom is 4, that means the top has to be 4 in order for that to equal 1. Okay, so I'm not going to use that 1. I'm going to use 4 over 4. Now I can subtract like normal. 4 minus 3 is 1. And we're going to keep our denominator of 4. Okay, let's do one more example. We're going to do 1 minus 2 over 5. Okay, there's nothing here, so I've got to borrow. Let's cross that off, put 0. Instead of 1, I'm going to make a fraction. Okay, what's going to make my problem easiest is if my fraction has a common denominator, so I don't have to do any more work. So let's choose 5. We'll make this 5 over 5. 5 minus 2 is 3, and keep our denominator of 5. Okay, so this is the basis of our subtracting. Now we're going to level it up and make our problem slightly harder. Okay, now we're going to use an example where we don't just have 1. Let's use something else. So we're going to do 9 minus 4 and 2/3. Okay, just like before, I have a 0 here. I can't do 0 minus 2, so I'm going to borrow from the 9. And now that becomes an 8, just like in normal subtraction with borrowing. Okay, what am I going to put here? Remember, I could put my 1, but that's not helpful. I need a fraction. So what's going to make my math easiest is if my denominators are the same just from the start. So it's 3. Let's make this 3 over 3. Okay, now I can subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1 with a denominator of 3. Because remember, we keep denominators the same. 8 minus 4 is 4. Okay, let's try one more. Let's do 16 minus 9 and a half. All right, 0 minus 1, can't do that. Let's borrow, make it a 15. Instead of putting 1 here that I borrowed, I'm going to turn it into a fraction. Let's use this denominator of 2. So 2 over 2, which is equivalent to 1. Now I can subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1. Keep my denominator of 2. 15 minus 9 is 6. So there we go. All right, now we're going to level it up again. Okay, we level it up by adding a fraction to our top number. So let's do 8 and 1/4 minus 6 and 3/4. All right, they have the same denominator, which is great, but 1 is less than 3, and I can't do 1 minus 3, so I'm going to have to borrow. Okay, so we're going to borrow from this 8 and make it a 7. Now, before I do this, let's write this same problem parallel, but we're going to exclude this 1/4. So 8 minus 6 and 3/4. Okay, now if we didn't have a number here, what we would do is we'd say, all right, this is 7, and I'm going to create a fraction that equals 1, and my denominator is 4, so we're going to write 4 over 4 here, right? Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here, except this time, because I've already got a 4th there, I'm going to add 4 over 4 to what's already there. Okay, this is the only part of this problem that's different from over here, which we already did. Okay, so now we have to consider this 4th that it's already there. So 1 plus 4, which is 5, that's 5/4. All right, now this right here is my new fraction up here that I'm going to subtract 3/4 from. Okay, so 5 minus 3 is 2. My denominator is 4. 7 minus 6 is 1. Now also we want to be able to reduce and simplify. Okay, so 2 over 4, I can divide that by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my answer, I would want to write it as 1.5. This is correct, but this is your answer simplified and reduced. Let's do one more example like this, okay? Let's do 6 and 2/5 minus 3 and 4/5. All right, so we do have a common denominator, which is great, but 2 is less than 4. Now over here, I'm going to do the same thing I did above. I'm going to write a parallel problem, but without this fraction there. Because as we were doing these in class, we understood what was over here, but when we added this 2/5, it made things seem more complicated than they were. And I want you to see how similar they really are. Okay, so over here, well, let's start over here. 6, I would borrow, right? Make that a 5. And then my denominator is 5, so let's go ahead and make a fraction equal to 1 using 5. All right, now over here, I'm going to do the same thing. Borrow, make it a 5. I have this fraction here, so I still want to put this 5 over 5. I'm going to add it to what's already there. Okay, so that will be 5 plus 2 is 7. That means 7/5. So this is my new fraction for the top, and now I can subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. Keep a denominator of 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. So my answer is 2 3/5. Okay, we have one more example to go. We're going to level it up again with a slightly harder problem. All right, now we're going to subtract with borrowing when our denominators are not the same. All right, so we're going to do 14 and 4/7 minus 8 and 13/14. Okay, so before we can even borrow, we have to deal with these denominators which are not the same. So let's use the same method we did before. We want to look for the least common multiple on the bottom, which is called the least common denominator. Okay, write our multiples of 7. So we've got 7, 14. There we go. That's 14. That's what I'm looking for, right? This also has a 14. So 14, that's 1, 2, 7 times 2. So let's create an equivalent fraction up here. 4 times 2 is 8. And I know my denominator is 14. All right, this one is the same. We're going to leave it alone and not do anything with it right now. Okay, now I have 8 minus 13. I can't do that. I'm going to have to borrow. So let's go over here to the third. I'm going to cross this off right here because we don't need it. Go over here to the 14. We're going to borrow. This becomes 13. And now I need to add 1 to this, but I want to do it as a fraction. Okay, what's going to make my math easiest is if my denominators are the same. So we're going to add 14 over 14, which is equivalent to 1. Okay, let's create our new fraction here, 8 plus 14, which is 22 over 14. Okay, now we can finally subtract. All right, 22 minus 13 is 9. My denominator is 14. 13 minus 8 is 5. So my answer is 5 and 9/14. And this cannot be reduced any further. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more problem together. Go ahead and try this with me if you can. Okay, 23 and 1/6 minus 15 and 2/3. All right, before we can do anything, we've got to make these denominators the same. So I'm always start with my smaller number when I start writing out multiples. So 3, 6. Oh, I've already got it. That was easy. Okay, so 6 is going to be my common denominator. This is 3 times 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 2 times 2 is 4. So there is my new fraction. All right, now let's subtract. 1 minus 4. Can't do that. Okay, so now we've got to borrow. So let's go over here to the 23, cross it off and write 22. And I need to add 1, right? So my denominator is 6. So I want to add 1, but as a fraction. So we're going to add 6 over 6. to get our new fraction. 6 plus 1 is 7. Now I can subtract, right? Because these are the two fractions that I'm working with now. 7 minus 4 is 3. Keep our denominator of 6. 22 minus 15 is 7. All right, now this can be reduced, 3 over 6. Now, some of you will already know this is 1/2, and that's excellent, okay? But if you're not sure what it is or how to get it, let's do our usual method. I'm going to write it over here, 3 over 6. 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3, so let's go ahead and do that. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So this equals 7 and 1/2, and that's our answer.